About 4 months ago, I purchased my Leica D-Lux 8 year anniversary edition, and I wanted to give you at least my perspective on this camera now that I've had the opportunity to use it and take a lot of pictures with it, and give you my thoughts on pros and cons on this camera. First of all, I think it's a great camera. I find myself, because I have some options with the Q system, grabbing for those first. And then this one kind of gets left for different scenarios. So if I'm just going to go out and do something and I want to carry a little camera with me, I can do that, or small traveling type things. But what I'm surprised with is that every time I bring this camera out and take pictures with it, how great it is. Like, it's the image quality and the pictures and the feeling that you get with this, it's really good. And so I find myself every time I download pictures and go, wow, I'm not missing out on anything per se about not carrying the cube with me. And then there are certain times where it's no, I want to bring the cube because I want to make sure I get that 60 megapixel resolution and I want to be able to crop in and have all that ability. But if I'm just cruising around and I just want to have a camera just in case, this is a great camera to have. So I'm really pleased with it. But again, it's just a casual camera to carry around with you and just snap in real time. There's an interviewer going around that says, would you rather capture the moment or compose the shot? And for me, obviously a capture the moment type person. I want this thing to turn on and take a picture and capture that moment if I can. And I think that's also where this camera struggles a little bit, because as great as the pictures are, it does take some time to turn on and get ready. And then, you're ready to shoot. For like power off and then power back on and run and gun with it, this is probably not as fast as you might want it to be. But once it's turned on and once you kind of steady up, it does a good job. Now, where I think it also fails is that, again, turning it on and then trying to capture the moment really quick, you are going to miss some shots with it. But once you understand what the limitations are of any camera system and then how to work around them, you get some really incredible shots with this camera. I've taken this camera out at night. So I walked Fremont Street in Las Vegas and tried to do some night photography with it. And I was really pleased at the images I got out of this at night. I also have used this taking some sunset pictures, and I'll post a couple of those. So it does a good job with that. And just some street photography stuff. This camera does surprisingly well. I also like how quiet this camera is. So the shutter on this, I don't know if you can hear it. It's just really silent. Unlike the Sony where, you have the big giant shutter sound, this is just really nice and quiet. So it's very discreet. But now let's talk about some things that I wish Leica could do better. Now, I've said some of these things in other videos, but the video capability out of this camera is surprisingly good. Like, you can go outside and take videos with this camera and be very pleased about the output that you get. In fact, I saw a gentleman, I don't know his name, but he does Hasselblad videos and he's a car photographer, but he shoots his vlogs with this. And his video quality is amazing. Now, the lack of audio support is a bummer for me because you can't record audio. Now, what he does is he syncs his audio in post, and that's great. I just don't do that as part of my workflow, but I could get around that limitation if I wanted to and have something that shoots really good video. The other thing that I think is a bummer is the lack of a flip out screen. This is a great screen. It gives you amazing quality. I would just love the ability for it to either flip out or flip up so you can shoot lower to the hip if you want to. EVF on this thing is great, so I have no complaints about that whatsoever. The shutdown time on this can be a bit lengthy, which is weird, and it varies from your first shot of the day versus your middle shot of the day. So your boot up and boot down times are different for whatever reason. that's interesting to me. And I think the other thing that if I had to complain about it is I just wish there was a little bit more oomph from a megapixel standpoint to be able to crop or change things in post. But as far as composing your shots, you have to think about that a little bit more. But once you lock in on something and take a picture, it comes out great. Now, will you capture every shot? No, there are shots that I've tried to capture that have come out blurry, but that's with any camera, I think. Obviously, the Q is going to have better focusing technology than this, but that's not going to be as great, let's say, as the Sony I'm using now. So there are limitations, and again, once you understand what those limitations are, it's going to be great. This thing did great at night on the strip, taking pictures of moving people in low light without the flash. The other thing that I like about this camera is the ability to take a flash, and not only the flash that it comes with is pretty good, but then you can use those little Godox flashes, which take great pictures as well. So I think my experience so far, and this is just going to be a short video, but I would say so far my experience with this camera has been really pleasurable. And I find myself not picking up this camera enough. I think that's the main point, is I want to start using this more. So I'm going to start carrying this more, either as a second camera or just as my primary. If I'm just going to go out and I'm not planning on taking pictures anywhere, but all of a sudden I see something and I want to take pictures with it, this is a great camera to have. If this is your only camera that you're going to get, or your entry into Leica, then I would say go for it. This is a really good camera. Maybe not as many megapixels as you might want, but you'll be surprised about the image quality that comes out of this. Again, very short video. You can watch my other ones on accessories and all that other stuff, but I just thought I would share my experiences with you so far on the ownership of having this. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy my content, and we will talk soon. Take care.